and insight of our distinguished tech vibes on Bincom Dev Center. Yeah, the stories are meant to inspire, guide, and encourage current trainees and aspiring professionals. So today we are honored to have with us our lovely speaker, who is one of our tech vibes. So they'll be speaking with us and will be sharing their journey so far, experiences and valuable lessons from their time at Bincom and beyond. So thank you all for joining us. So our speaker, good afternoon. Can you kindly introduce yourself to us? Mr. Elijah, can you hear us? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Mr. Elijah, can you hear us? Can you hear me? Sorry, am I audible? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good afternoon. Mr. Elijah, you can speak now. We want you to introduce yourself to us.
Okay, so good day everyone. Thank you so much for this amazing section, and good day to everybody who's on the call. So my name is Elijah Moses, and who am I? In a nutshell, I think I've said to myself that I envision a time whenever I'm called to introduce myself, I'll just say, "Hey everyone, hello, my name is Elijah Moses. I'm a problem solver," and things like that. But generally, I'm a problem solver at the base of what I do, and as tied to solving problems, I basically address certain kind of problems as tied to certain kind of industry. For this case, working in the edtech sector and the social impact sector, I address this challenge using the power of innovation and power of technology. I have like a background in marketing. This year, I'm making my 10th year in marketing, so I have a background in marketing. I also have like an academic background in applied physics, and currently this year I decided to go back to school again to go and learn entrepreneurship from Viva Open University. So I am just someone that always keep on learning because I believe that the greatest advantage you ever have as an individual um, lies primarily on the things you don't yet know. So what you don't yet know is way greater than what you know, because what you don't yet know determines the end result of your life, determines the corresponding outcomes of the actions you take, and ultimately it influences the circumstances to which you find yourself playing in. So I am very much interested in things that I don't yet know. So when I know them, then I can grow. So yeah, in a nutshell, that is me. Thank you. All right, thank you. Over to you.
Oh, that's good. You said you're a problem solver. I think you're going to solve everyone's problem today.
Wonderful. Okay, and then you're all in the right place.
All right. Once again, we'd love to know your name. How you want us to address you? Your name, please, sir.
All right. Just call me Elijah. Moses is my dad's name. Elijah is my name. Thank you.
We want to see your face, please.
Sorry.
Good.
So yes, you can call me Elijah, and Moses is my dad's name. Yeah, that's good.
You prefer just calling you Elijah with all these your experiences. You shouldn't just actor, professor.
Well. Amazingly, I have an interest in getting like a PhD soon, but for now, just Elijah is fine. That is fine. Don't worry about the rest. All right, thank you so much.
All right. So you're welcome once again. Thank you for introducing yourself to us, Mr. Elijah. Well,
Thank you.
our next question is, with this your experience,
Mm.
work experience, what is it? What is a common misconception people have about your specific field of expertise?
Wonderful. Okay, so these are very interesting questions, right? So based on my current work experience, what are the possible misconceptions that people actually have as tied to my expertise, right? Um,
Yeah.
I'll say basically three misconceptions. But before I say these three misconceptions, I want to send out like a big shout out to Bincom. Yeah, because I think I got clarity, I got way deeper clarity as tied to my particular line of work because I went through Bincom, right? So Bincom is I see it more like an enabling environment where potentials are forged into a force for good, right? So most persons might have different misconceptions, but when you go through the Bincom program or you have the opportunity to intern here, there is something that gets worked into your being as an individual. So as part to that, the three misconception number one is that people think it is too hard. Right? So people are like, it's too hard, it's too hard, it's too hard. But in reality, I think the very fact that people have subconsciously subscribed to the notion that the things I do and any other professional in the line of business, the things that they're into, seems to be hard, that actually creates a mental barrier. And as a result of that, people are not able to live up to their peak potentials. And that actually stifles creativity, it limits you as an individual, and ultimately it keeps you feeling unfulfilled in the long run. Secondly, the misconception they actually have is you need to know everything before you start, right? So marketing is 80% psychology, 20% activities. Startup development is 80% psychology, 20% activities. Um, EduTech and other things I do is 80% psychology, 20% activity, right? What does that mean? It means that let me make it more striking. Everything you need to know about a particular line of industry, you already know. You don't just know how to put it to work, right? So many persons try to feel concentrated. That means until you learn everything, you won't put yourself out there. But I personally believe that actions create new information, and every time you get into a particular field, you'll be amazed how far you grow. So that's the second thing. You need to do everything before you start. That's a no. And lastly, I would say that the third point would be that there is always an end at the end. So let me tell you, when it has to do with career, the only person that can stop you is you. There is no end to any end, right? So if you decide to place yourself on the pedestal of continuous learning, the only end that will be there for you is an end towards progression, right? So these are like the three misconceptions and other things the startup persons actually have about the kind of career path. I won't call it career path because I'm a mixture of many things, but the kind of stuff I do, right? So yeah, that's it.
All right. All right. You said we need to know everything. Is it possible to know everything?
Like you don't need to know. People have the conception that you need to know everything before you start, but the potentials for growth lies in not knowing, right? So growth starts from an environment that is unfamiliar to your present reality. So if you always decide to start something because you have all the information at hand, reality will shock you that the very fact that you have stayed so long trying to gather everything will lead to a paralysis, analysis paralysis, right? So you only tend to understand what you know by putting all you think you have done so far into action. And also everything you think you don't yet know, you get to know when you do it. So in the doing, you get better. In the doing, you evolve. And let me also say this is also going to be very, very interesting, right? You won't get to understand yourself until you do unfamiliar things. I'll say that again. You will never get to understand yourself. You will never get to understand the potential that are within you until you try to do unfamiliar things. Because when you try to do unfamiliar things, you have shifted from the zone of comfort into uncomfortable comfort. Right? So that these are the things that actually drive me, and I think anybody can use it as well. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. That experience. That's nice. That's nice. I'm happy having you here. Wow.
Mhm.
I'm even learning. Please let's drop in our comments as we are and enjoying Mr. Elijah, please. All right. Our next question is now in the last 2 years, what is the most complex challenge you've solved and what structured thinking or making framework guided your approach?
The last 2 years, what's the most complex problem I have solved, and what possible structure or framework
Structured
basically helped me to
thinking.
solve it? I think one of the biggest challenge I ever faced is understanding people. Humans are wonderful, right? And I got a deeper sense of understanding, differentiating an individual into two. There is the person and there's the personality. They are not the same, right? So the personality forms the character of the person. The personality forms the perspective of the person. The personality forms uh, the attributes that makes them who they are. The the authentic identity of an individual is formed in their personality. Now, a person might a person might or an individual might be doing something and they make a mistake. Sometimes people try to make people look like their mistakes, right? So people try to make people look them. So let's say I'll give you a practical example. Let's say you have a team member, right? And that particular team member, for some reason, did not get that job done, right? For some reason, or they didn't perform well. Some persons will try to blame the person as though that error is who they are, right?
That's
And the funny thing is that when you try to blame the person as though the error is who they are, it basically does more damage to who they think they are as a person. People have made other people doubt themselves because of the things they said to them. So as a team member,
sure.
like I have people I work with, right? Right. And I've seen cases where another team member or somebody that is working with me just say certain things that look as though they're saying their mind. They say, I have to just say my mind. You might want to say something good, but the attitude towards what is being said communicates negative criticism to the person listening. So you can say a good thing with a wrong tone and you damage the self-image of another person, right? So trying to understand people, it's really amazing. And once you're able to strike the balance between understanding the person and their personalities, you discover that people can be very easy to get by with. People are not hard. I mean, people are not complex, right? And also with respect to personalities, understanding What make a person perform in one job or in one task compared to the other person? I'll give a practical example. So if you are an introverted person, right? Let's say you don't like talking, you don't like, for some reason, your makeup. So there's nature and culture. The environment you were groomed in or groomed from, cultured you with tendencies that made you introverted. So you just like keeping to yourself. You don't like going out there. It would take somebody who's just like that, who has been like that for the past 20 years of their life, and you place them in marketing where they have to go out, where they have to go and do stuff. It will shock you that they will underperform. And then you'll be blaming them, or you'll be blaming them. Say, but you are giving target. Why don't you hit this target? But the funny thing is that they are trying, but he's not connecting. He's not, he's like, he's like you mix the oil and water, right? But if you take that same person and you switch the job role, or you take the task that is given to them to work on and find a way to deconstruct that task into things that can fit into their personality, you'll be amazed how much commitment these set of persons will put into the work to be done. So understand people, understand what works for them, and wherever you find yourself, always be the sun, always be the sun that makes another person's flower blossom. Don't be the blood moon, right? You be the sun. So yeah, basically that is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Elijah. So, if let's start comment, because someone is already speaking of you, and I think it was a question for you to answer. I said, person and personality interesting, but can we really differentiate the person from the personality?
All right. So yes, you can, and there are basically three ways you can go about it, right? So when you talk about person, you're looking at the fundamental attributes of what constitutes an individual. Now, this includes the following. This includes their orientation of life, right? This includes their self-image. This includes their self-construct. This includes the unique attributes that makes a human a human. The ability to love, the ability to be cheerful, the ability to be themselves. These are attributes that every single one of us have. Now, notice this, everybody. Personhood is universal, meaning we all have attribute that makes us who we are as a person, but personalities differs at different levels. And that's why I'll give you a very relatable case. If you got a group of children, you got like 10 children that don't know themselves from anywhere, right? Just gather 10 children together, just place them in the room, they'll start playing. Right? There's no construct in their head to say, oh, I've been trained not to do this kind of stuff. I need to be like this. But if you gather 10 adults, the 10 adults can be in a room, they're like this, they're looking at themselves. Nobody wants to start conversation. Right? So children at the very early beginning, right, they have this deep sense of oneness. A child can see another child and know that we are together, we are the same, right? But an adult, they have been wired by the experiences of life, wired by the circumstances they have encountered, wired by the differences they have related with the other person. And these things have formed who they are. So your personality grows with time, but your personhood is fundamentally who you are. And every single one of us have these things in us. So that's one of the ways to do it. So the things that make you who you are, I mean, aside from every other thing you've gone through, is the person. The personalities are the experiences, the circumstances. No wonder in every organization, there's something called a culture. Even organizations have to develop personalities, right? The personality of an organization constitutes of the culture, the thing that also builds on the value and every other thing. That's why if you don't conform to the values, which is the personality of an organization, they tell you that we are sorry, you cannot work here. HR will tell you that you need to leave because there's a clash between you and that particular identity. So these are the things that I think differentiate people and the person and the personality at the fundamental level. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Elijah. So, our next question. In an economy being reshaped by AI and what deliberate steps do you take to relevant and ahead of the curve?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
In an economy being reshaped by AI and global shifts, what deliberate steps do you take to remain relevant and ahead of the curve?
So we live in a VUCA world, right? VUCA. It's volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, and there's a lot of ambiguity. Um, First things first, I am a person who understands the inherent potentials of change, right? I'm a person who believes in inherent potential of change. Nothing can ever remain the same, right? Because change is one of the permanent factors of life. But now, I personally, I've come to discover that, it's not as though everybody wants to change, right? Everybody wants to like improve themselves, they want to get better, don't be hard on the curve. But people don't like to do what is required for them to change. So this is where the switch actually happens for me. I know what I need to do for me to change because I always want to be ahead of the crowd. Noise and signals is what keeps me going. We live in an environment of noise. And for you to stand out in a very noisy environment or a distracted world, you need to be able to either create your signal or look ahead, looking at the current trend, looking at the current start. Identify the signals that actually serve as a pointer connecting the present into the future. And whatever those signals are, you step on them and you move forward. Now, bringing it into context as an individual, how do you apply this to your life? Number one, upskilling. Hey, right? I learn on the go. Like, Mr. Bade, I'll say this, Mr. Bade is one amazing person. He is someone who is always learning on the go, right? And being in an environment of people who like learning on the go, we influence you to learn on the go. So while I was in Bincom, right, and I'm always one of the Bincom family. I'm saying this because I came from here, right? There's always, weekly updates, knowledge exchange section. There are, in fact, there are sections where you are provided with resource materials to go and update yourself, courses to go and learn. So I look out for things that gives me 10x advantage compared to what any other person is doing, and I plug myself. So upskilling is one thing I do. I take it very serious. Number two, mentorship, right? Mentorship, right? The fastest way for you to cheat time is to affiliate yourself with people who have gone ahead of time. The fastest way for you to cheat time is to affiliate yourself with people who have gone ahead of time. It's not wisdom for you to learn from your own experience because you will pay with your time validating experiences that other persons have experienced, and by so doing, you waste time. Mm-hmm. So working with mentors, you have an edge because mentors don't just only help you to get an edge. They provide you three things. Number one, they provide you access, the ability to get into doors that gets open from inside out, not from outside in. Right? So there are some doors you cannot open, from here. You have to open it from inside, and then you get it. Somebody has to open it and bring you in. No matter how you knock on that door, right? Number two, mentors actually help you to escape the consequence of unintended actions, right? So there are things that you want to do because you feel like, oh, it should be good. How can you tell the decision that is really good? Is it because the outcome looks good? An outcome might look good today, but in the next 10 years, it might look like the worst. All right, am I being heard? Please confirm. You can hear me, right? Okay, so let me wrap up very quick. So in the next 3 years or 5 years, it might be the worst decision you ever took, right? But when you work with people whose life encompasses actions, reactions, and consequence, you are able to escape the consequence of unintended action. That's what mentors give to you. So upskilling, connecting with mentors. Number three, staying ahead of the curve. I love challenging my ideologies, right? Once the facts change as well. Once the fact have changed, change. For instance, AI is the new normal, right? And when I mean AI, I mean there are levels to these things. I mean, there's LLM models, there is the agent system, multi-agent system, there is the race towards AGI, there's super intelligence and stuff like that. These systems are changing things. It's not a threat to you, right? It's rather an advantage to you. You asking yourself how to take advantage of the current tool to position yourself is one of the ways you get like 10x advantage ahead of time. So I'm always learning, right? I am passionate about the areas of ignorance in my life, and I can pay any amount of money to improve my mind. So basically, that's how I stay way ahead of the curve. So continuous learning, continuous improvement, continuous networking. Let me also say this finally. This will shock everybody. Finally, consciously program yourself, and force yourself into environments where you feel as though you don't deserve to be, right? Consciously program yourself and force yourself into environments where you think you don't deserve to be. Because by being in those environments where you seem as though you don't deserve to be, you will grow, right? Environment like that have standards. And because you are there, the standard will apply to you. Excellence will apply to you. Growth will apply to you. The ability to increase your social status will apply to you, and you will get better. So yeah, these are some of the things I actually do. Thank you.
Wow, Mr. Elijah, thank you very much for really learning more seriously. I was always dropping out things. If you still have more questions to ask, or you have a comment, you can chat box, please. I'll see you from seriously. But the next question for you, Mr. Elijah, when making takes decisions, what or variable you refuse to compromise on when you're making the high stake decisions? What is the one principle or variable you refuse to compromise on?
So when making high stake decision, what is that one principle I for whatever the reason is, I will never compromise on? Right? Is that the question?
Yes. Refuse to compromise on.
So I think the line is MTN
Voice
is wonderful.
Breaking. It's
I know, right? So
I'm sincerely.
Okay, can you come again? Let me get it. You said when making high.
So sorry. This is the question.
Okay, can you repeat the question? I didn't get it clearly.
All right. When making a high stakes decision, the one principle of value you refuse to compromise on when you're making your decision.
Okay, so let me paraphrase it, right? And please kindly confirm if I got it right. When making high stake decision, what are the principles of process I will not compromise on? Right?
A variable you refuse to compromise on, yes.
So high stake decisions, variable I will not compromise on. That's a very good question. So I think basically there are three variables I won't compromise on. The first one is understanding that everything is subject to change, right? And with that in mind, I know that the facts are never absolute, right? So even if I'm working on a document or working on an idea or trying to work on the business, right? I know that whatever concept I am applying today, I factor into the process a condition that makes it clear from the very beginning that these things that are being shared ahead into time, there will be change, right? So most people don't factor change models into whatever they do, whether you're making a decision about what kind of career to take, what kind of business to take, what kind of environment you want to actually place yourself in, right? Factor it into place that change is constant, and the variable of change is a solid foundation upon which other things you want to do is dependent upon. So that's the first. Now, the second thing I actually factor into place is I asked myself a question in mind, right? Even though I believe in the concept of change, right? I said to myself, what are the things as tied to the future? What are the variables as tied to the future that I know will not change? Now, there are things that will never change, and there are things that will change. For the things that will change, I create an allowance for it in my plans, in my concept, in my approach towards life, my approach towards decision making. That is it. Now, the other side, I take into consideration the things that will not change, right? Because when you factor into place the things that will not change, you have a measure of predictability. The future can be predicted because there are conditions, variables, standards, principles, there are factors in place that will never change. And because these factors don't change, then whatever decisions you are making, you have a measure of predictability factored into place, right? Then, please confirm, am I being heard? I think Margaret is frozen. Please, I mean, can Hemi give me a thumbs up, please? So I know, I know who is here with me, right? Can everyone else hear? Okay, nice. Okay, that's fine. So I think it's a network. Then finally, the thought I bring into place when I'm taking a high stake decision is evaluating consequence and decision, right? If the consequence for an action is heavier than the weight of the action, wisdom demands that you don't take that action, right? So I'm not necessarily interested in trying to just get certain things done because I want to do it, right? I'm intentional enough in basically finding the balance between actions I want to take and the consequences that this action I'm about to take will create. And whatever those consequences are, I walk backwards, and try to see how I can make my decision way better so that whatever the consequence looks like, if it's good, it favors me. If it's not so good, there's a change in place. So in summary, look out for change, the things that will not change, embrace it, factor it into whatever it is you want to do. Number two, look out for the variables that will forever remain constant, right? The constant gives you a measure of assurance, a certainty about the future to a particular degree. And thirdly, as much as possible, weigh the balance between consequence and decisions. And when you're able to factor these three things in place, personally, these are things I will never compromise on. You would end up having results that, in the long run, will provide a great source of wisdom to people who follow your path. So yeah, thank you. All right. Can everyone hear Margaret? Margaret, can you hear me, please? Am I being heard?
Yes, I'm.
Oh. Okay, would you like me, I think, would you like us to move to the next question? I think you shared. Don't worry, the internet is wonderful, it's wonderful. These are the things that, well, it's subject to change. It will change. You believe one day it will change, it will change. It will change because one of us make it to change, right? Every single one of us on the call make it to change. So, yes. All right, Margaret, I can hear you. I'm just trying to see if I can also get a question from my end. All right.
I understand that.
All right.
You can still hear me.
I can hear you.
All right. Also, My next question is, as someone who now hires or mentors talent, what signals or traits immediately indicate long-term potential?
So these are good questions, I must say, right? What are the signals that indicate that whoever I am, employing has the long term potentials for growth or long-term potential in general? Sorry, I think my voice is echoing. All right.
I can hear you.
So yeah, I think I might be I'm hearing myself kind of like echoing.
It's maybe the network.
Is it the same for everyone?
No.
It's echoing.
Okay.
I can hear
It's
you.
echoing, right? Okay, so is it possible we mute our mic and maybe I respond? So that might actually reduce the interference. Like if you can mute. All right. Okay, Mark, is it possible? Could you mute your mic for a while? Because I think I'm hearing myself double.
All right, let me just try.
All right, thank you. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, it's still echoing. Don't worry. All right. Yes. It's better. All right. So, good question. As someone who hires or mentors talent, what signals or traits immediately indicate long-term potentials? That's a very good question. Four traits. Your ability to work with internal supervision. When people always say that they can handle things. Your ability to work with little or no supervision indicates to the prospective employer that you are a person who embrace the element of growth, right? So you don't need someone to tell you what you need to do before you take the initiative. You are a forward thinker. Before ever there is an issue, you can think ahead, right? You can think 3 or 4 steps ahead, right? Because ultimately organizations hire people for their differences and you get fired for your similarity, right? So if everybody in the organization are all thinking alike or trying to do things similarly alike, it means there's no growth. There's no enabling environment for innovation to thrive or creativity to thrive. So you get employed for your difference. Part of that difference, your ability to operate with little or no supervision. And that's why even if you notice right now, globally, organizations are actually deploying autonomous systems to work in their companies, deploying AIs or intelligent systems, because intelligent systems can work with little or no human supervision. so that's the first one. And the second thing I also look out for is being curious, right? Being curious. Curiosity is like a house owner who welcomes creativity as a guest. Curiosity is like a house owner that welcomes creativity as a guest, right? So when you are curious, you're always now constructively being curious, by the way. So you're always saying to yourself, okay, what is it that as an organization you're a part of that you're currently doing now that other persons are not yet doing? Or what is it that other persons are doing and you can find the margin of errors in what other people are doing and they capitalize on that little margin of error in the organization and give you an advantage. So when you meet a prospect like an intern or somebody you want to get in, and while you're having a meeting with this person are giving you insight, strategy on how to advance your organization. Like they're not actually inside, but they've done deep dive on you. Like so deep that you're like, how did you know these things? Like who get these things to you? right? It shows that you have a curious mind and you're open to growth. Now, the third thing I also look out for is basically people who have or people who have been able to identify how their current vision built into the bigger vision of what the organization is. Now, this is very, very, very important. I'll say that again. Prospects, talent who have identified the way in which their present vision connects with the bigger vision of the organization. Because if you only try to make the organization look good without making that goodness flow through you or with you along the line, you will end up being dissatisfied. And you will try to compensate for your inner dissatisfaction when the company's public image looks good and everybody's selling tons of it, right? So what is your current vision, right? So if you are a C, I would see. Let us be very direct with this thing. There's no other way to this. That's why I love Bincom. Hello, I love Bincom. Bincom will tell you you have environment, you have the resources, position yourself. You want to have a startup. Okay, I mean, we have startup programs that is being offered. You want to become a global talent so that you can immigrate out. Okay, we have a pathway for you. So whatever it is you want to do, that is an inner vision you have for yourself. How does it connect with the bigger vision of the organization? And then you find that connecting point. When you find the connecting point, you will become an asset to the organization, one, and you will also position yourself while you're within the organization for strategic possibilities. So you will not just leave a company and the only thing that is known about you is the thing you did or the things you accomplished within that company, and that is all. No. Have things you are building. Find a way to plug it in. Find a way to connect yourself with it. It shows that you have a life outside of work. You have something you're working on. That's the thought. And then the fourth one is I like a person who has a sense of gratitude, right? Because when you have grateful people working with you, people who are grateful for life, grateful for their ability to contribute, there is a magic that gets activated with gratitude, right? So being a person full of gratitude, man, it makes a lot of a difference. Your presence in the organization electrifies the atmosphere, right? So people can be on the call because you are there, everybody's happy, right? You're a great person. So these are the things I actually look out for when I take in people to work in my current organization, right? Thank you. Oh, your mic is muted.
Seriously. Well, I really appreciate your answers. Seriously, I really appreciate it. So my next question.
Okay.
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
It says, in your current expert role, which were a core brick or fundamental principle from your trainings do you still rely on today when talking complex senior level projects? In your current expert role, which brick or fundamental principle from your trainees do you still rely on today when talking complex senior level projects?
Wonderful.
I want to answer
that. Okay, so fundamentals. So there are three principles I forever hold on to. Number one, first principle thinking. So first principle thinking simply means that you take something at a larger level, you break it down to its fundamental level, right? So whenever I am working on a project, right, or I want to build a solution, right, the first thing that comes to my mind is I try to see what are the foundational elements that makes up this solution I want to build, or what are the fundamental constitutions that makes up the problem that I'm trying to address. Because nothing really is too big to solve. Things are just blown out of proportion because they're not broken down into fundamentals, right? So you take something and you break it down. I'll give you a practical example of how that can be done. So let's say you are not making sales, right, as a company. So the question is not what can we do to make more sales. I mean, that's that's the first question most people start with. I'm not making sales, so what can I do to make more sales? No, I don't think like that. The question I ask is, what are we not doing that is making us not to get sales? And secondly, what are we doing that is stopping us from making sales? Now, we bring in first principle thinking. You also bring in what's called inverse thinking or lateral thinking. So in inverse thinking, you don't ask yourself what makes a success out of the thing. You ask yourself, what are the possible negative outcome that can happen through this thing, and then you walk the step backward, right? So I have that mindset, the first principle thinking approach. I break things down to the fundamental and I try to build it on the ground up, and it always works because when you break it down, you will discover many other amazing ways you can do that same thing, right? Beyond just the initial way you thought that it can be done. So first principle thinking is the first one. And the second one I take as well is called inverse thinking. So I don't ask myself, what can I do to be a success? I ask myself, what are the things that can increase the chances of me being a failure? When you know the things that'll make you a failure and you stop doing things that'll make you a failure, automatically you succeed. So, so if you keep doing the things that you think should give you sales and it's not giving you sales, I keep doing it, you will end up being frustrated. And the third concept I use, I call it backward integration, forward iteration. So these are concepts I use personally. So backward integration means that when I want to work on anything, right, I ask myself, if I were to get these things done, because when you want to work in a project, you start from the beginning to the end. But I ask myself, how can I start from the end of the project to the beginning of the project? Right. So when you're planning how to execute a marketing, I'll use marketing or something more relatable, right? Let's say you want to execute a marketing drive or stuff like that. Right. Don't say what are the things I need to do to have a successful marketing campaign. Rather say, imagine you already have a successful, amazing marketing campaign in your mind. What are the things in your mind factoring together that made this campaign a success? So you walk backward, forward. Now that is backward iteration. Forward reiteration means that whatever it is you've worked on, find a way to do that thing way better, way faster, way quicker, right? So if there are certain couple of tasks you want to work on and you want to execute on, right? And you only know 2 ways of doing that thing, don't rely on just 2 ways. Increase it. What are the 3 ways? What are the extra 1 way you can get to do that particular thing you want to do? And I noticed that because of my ability to deploy this concept, I've been able to do quite a lot of things constructively well, and in a way, everything connects together to make sense. So remember, first principle thinking, inverse thinking, and lastly, backward integration, forward reiteration. Right? These are the concepts I actually use in getting things done. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Elijah. I'm not
You
seeing anyone's
welcome.
comments, though.
Yo!
I'm not seeing anyone. I want to see your response. I want to see your comments. I want to see your questions. For us to know that we are really enjoying Mr. Elijah. Thank you very much, Mr. Elijah.
You're
Our next
welcome.
question. Mentioned Bincom the other time.
Yes.
So now we want to
Okay.
from experience from Bincom. Like, truly, Bincom is known for its community.
Mm-hmm.
So how has the network of peers or mentors you met during the program evolved to professional partnerships or support system as you have moved up the ladder?
Wonderful. So so this is my Bincom story. Hello. So personally, wow. Well, Steve Jobs said sometimes you cannot understand life looking forward. You only understand it looking backward, right? When I came to Bincom, no, let me just say when I came to Bincom gave me the opportunity they took a big chance on me, right? And they gave me the opportunity to bring all the amazing stuff that I knew into an environment that demanded much more from me beyond the things I actually, I knew at that time. And one of the ways that actually made this things possible is placing me in an enabling environment. I had an amazing mentor, Mr. Damilare. So wherever you are, shout out to you, sir. You. Right. So Mr. Damilare was an amazing person, one of the best marketing mentor I've ever actually had, right? And also we through Mr. Damilare, we also had another mentor. I'm not to recall his name, right? But Mr. Damilare, the other mentor, I'm not to recall his name. There is somebody, right? Sometimes whenever we're having section with Mr. Badi, and somebody's like, should I be worried? Once you hear should I be worried, meaning, hello, what's up? Something wasn't working, right? So these are things that in a way the environment will constructively force you to grow, right? And it was a Bincom I got to know that you can be exposed to growth in many ways. So while I was doing, I was providing insight as a junior, as digital marketing junior associate, right? While I was doing all those things, I was availed the opportunity to also take the Bincom Academy marketing. Then I had the opportunity to teach. Then I was teaching some of the concepts I was exposed to. But beyond just that, Bincom provided the resources to upskill myself to learn. So we had access to some Udemy courses, some LMS courses, just to improve myself. And all these experiences and the people I connected with, one of the amazing person when I come forward. Right? Oh, I mean, these are people that literally I'm forever grateful, man. The exposure, the discipline, the nurturing environment, the constructive stress. That is a stress that is constructive. You have to deliver. These are the things that position me to tap into certain kind of opportunities. And the mentors I met, I'm still in touch with them even till this very present moment, right? So overall, I have benefited in three ways. The is striving for excellence. That's the first one. Number two, the ability to always explore ways of doing that one thing without making excuses, right? So rather than you saying, "Oh, there's no cash," where there's always money, but there's no funds, you want to run something. Why don't you think of running that same task or that same activity without first thinking of the money to use? How other possible ways can you get it done? So this kind of thing can actually help us as well. And the third one is basically an enabling environment that exposes you to a world of opportunities. And the Bincom community is loaded with a lot of persons, a lot of mentors, a lot of smart minds. A lot of awesome people I also met, through Bincom. So Bincom actually was a great environment for me and a nurturing place through which the potentials I had within me, they all came into alignment and everything aligned well for me. So yeah, basically that's it.
So you mean Bincom is a fun place to be?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And anybody, see, mark my words, right? But also remember this, you need to be clear about where you want to go, right? Because if you don't know where you're going, anywhere will look like your destination. But if you know where you're going, anywhere you are in will look like a means to the end, right? So for me, I always knew that, hey, I need to build myself. Then I need to learn from this environment, learn from this experience. I need to build a solution that can solve people's problem. Also, through this means, I need to be able to, I saw myself as a contributor to society. I envisioned that I will employ people working in my startup, in my company, right? So Bingo was that environment where I learned process, how to deal with people. Because let me tell you, if you don't, okay, let me mix this thing together. Jack Ma said, if you want to learn passion, you want to learn endurance, you want to learn the nitty nitty-gritty of entrepreneurship. Start with an organization that that might not be, all global. What I mean by that is they are not like everywhere in the world, but they are growing. Start with a growing organization, right? Why, if you want to learn culture, you want to learn governance, you want to learn culture, governance, you want to learn transition and legacy building, start with a company that's already established. I knew that I wanted to build a startup. I know that I wanted to advance forward. I knew that I wanted to do all those things. So I needed to learn process. I needed to learn pressure. Pressure is a blessing. Pressure. Constructive pressure. And Bincom actually provided these enabling tools that helped me to advance so far. So yeah.
So, what is one thing being come to you that you did not fully appreciate at the time, but has since critical in your career?
What is the one thing Bincom taught me that I did not appreciate at that time, but has turned out to be very important throughout my career? I think the ability to manage multiple initiatives and projects at the same time, delivering at an excellent pace. At that time, I think I saw it as pressure, but it was constructive pressure, right? And then it seemed as though you were doing so much, right? We're doing so much. And the tendency that you might feel that, why am I trying to do this much? Or they've added another KPI to your stuff. What's good? But in the long run, it's a blessing in disguise because I have been availed the opportunity to handle different projects, working with different organizations at the same time and ensuring that I deliver on all fronts. So much so that the other organizations are saying, Elijah, how do you do all these things you are doing? And you still have your startup you're running. How do you handle everything? You look like a superhuman. But at the base of this superhuman discipline, Bincom actually fundamentally built this discipline into me. So at the very beginning, it looked quite so much. But in the long run, it was a blessing in disguise. All right.
Okay. So, looking back, what do you think Bincom gets right that most training institutions or early career programs gets wrong?
Nice. Looking back, what do I think Bincom got right that other training program they get it wrong? Well, if I share this other training program, I actually listen to this, then they're gonna do it right? So I think there are three things Bincom actually got right that other training programs are yet to actually get. So Bincom has let me put this word, like a structured talent career pipeline, right? A structured talent career pipeline. So a person can come into the Bincom Academy, right? They go through the series of programs, and if they are very serious, they get like an internship or get like an apprenticeship, position or access. Now, beyond just having an apprenticeship access or internship positioning, you are provided with the opportunity to grow through the organization, solidifying the knowledge you've acquired into practical exposure. So the pipeline ensures that knowledge actually moves beyond just being theoretical to being applicable. Now, beyond just that, it also moves into career growth, right? So if you're a developer and you're working in Bincom, the number of projects you're working on, have worked on, automatically start building your portfolio. And Bincom is intentional about social influence campaign. When they tell you to share those things or share those content, it's one way of you positioning yourself. Now, if you create something new, something amazing, Bincom amplifies. Now, let me put it emphasis. Bincom loves amplifying the good work of the people that work with the organization. So I remember when I started the podcast series, right? And I was like, okay, my voice was there, my name, no, I shared it. When I shared it, Mr. Bade ensured that when we're doing social influence campaign, everybody also reshared it. So the content you are creating, you are getting stronger visibility into other networks. So you are positioning yourself branding wise. These are things other institutions will not do for you, because other institutions seem to be interested in just themselves. And by the time you're done paying the program and every other thing, they let you go. But Bincom will never let you go. They plug into their community, every cohort program, every initiative you apply, hackathons, they're having hackathons so that the relevance of the knowledge you have acquired can still be tested. And in the case where there are gaps, you can still improve on it through certain trainings like the Bincom Academy, that is being offered. So that's the second. Now, the third one I would say is that Bincom has a way of drawing out the best from you. Oh, you're gonna test constructive pressure. You will know. You're gonna know. But you're gonna know, so you're gonna grow, right? Anyways, you have to know so you grow. And these are leverage that you don't get anywhere. And ultimately you build yourself, through this pipeline. Now, let me also say this finally. If you are very serious, now I have friends that have gone through Bincom and they have Japa, right? Mr. Michael Alex, my very close brother. Yo, wherever it is, you're going to watch this video, he's going to see me, But he was in Bincom. DevOps guys, all the DevOps, Mr. Michael Alex was here. And positioning. He got in, he was already in Bincom, right? Handling DevOps. Then he advanced forward during the hackathon. He built a solution during the hackathon. Then he had an interest. How do I apply for the startup package? The UK startup visa. And he needed counsel on it. And Mr. Badi is an amazing person. He's always open to help, especially if you are within the organization, even outside of the organization. And he reached out and he went through a series of trainings through the emigrate part, and he was able to relocate successfully amongst other amazing persons that have moved to any country of their choice. So Bincom provides that enabling environment where you can grow from wherever it is you are to wherever it is you want to go, as long as you know where you want to go. So these are things you don't see in an organization doing, man. And Bincom actually has a way of connecting everything together in such a way that it is seamless. So yeah.
Okay. Bincom. Okay. You're trying to confuse us, or are you trying to convince us that Bincom is the best tech ever?
So I'm not trying to convince or trying to confuse anybody. I'm basically providing you with facts based on lived experience. One of those lived experience is design. I'm a lived experience. So if it has worked for me, it can work for anybody. Hello, principles are universal, though the application is context dependent. But if it works for one person, and I can mention a lot of persons, including my mentor who has relocated to the UK, Mr. Damilare, through Bincom, Mr. Michael has moved, immigrates. Other friends as well that I know, they are new. So this model works. If you work it out, it will work for you. So yeah. So that it's all right. You said, results cancels all doubt. Practical result cancels all doubt. So yeah.
So if you could show the version of yourself that first walked into Bincom years ago, a snapshot of what you built or achieved today, what part of your career growth would surprise that person the most? Did you get it?
Yes, that's a very good question. That's a very good question, right? What I can say, if you show someone your before and after, right? Which part of it is going to surprise them the most? So I think basically two things. The first one would be that, when I came into Bincom, uh, man, I know how I came in. People reflect on this, like, oh, anyways, it's fine. And now looking ahead, the exposure, the learning from Bincom helped me advance forward in 2023 to pitch for a particular initiative I had, and I got access to like some couple of funding. Yeah, quite a good amount of money in 2023. Then also I took the same concept, the things I have worked on, also tied to the exposure I had from Bincom. In 2024, I advanced with that same solution and I got access to some other funding. And with that funding, I basically doubled down on the previous solution I've worked on. Now I mean funding. Okay, let me make it explicit. You guys want numbers, facts. Fact has no feeling. So 2023, I got access to like $2,000 worth of funding. $2,000 was basically for the team. $50,000 was an equity funding pool for the solution I was working on, a marketing tech solution called Xander. Then in 2024, I had two pitches, and one of them also connected with Xander, advanced forward. Then also, then that's in 2024 into 2025, I launched Veronex. I was able to save up money to launch Veronex. Got funded as well. In 2024 into 2025, I got another extra funding as well through the Orange Corners program. And it's been God, I would say. It's been God all the way. Right? So if you were to see how I came in, right? So why? You were to see me now, there are two different things, right? When you look at everything, you can see the work of God, right? At the end of it all, I am what I am by the grace of God. So yes, yes, thank you.
Okay. So, what were the most significant challenges you faced transitioning out of Bincom, and how did you practically navigate them?
So, what was some of the challenge, and how did you practically navigate them? So, amazingly, I wouldn't say I faced challenge per se, because remember I said Bincom will never let you go. Because in a way you are part of the community. So I still had access to my mentors. I still had access to Mr. Bade, right? I could reach out to Mr. Bade anytime. And Mr. Bade actually, provide counsel, provide insight. I still had access to attend the Emigrate program to learn about the global tech relocation or the work visa relocation and all this stuff. I still had access to the Bincom Tech Network on Slack, where the awesome resources, courses, opportunities that are being shared, I am part of it. I still have access to the community on WhatsApp, right? So I did not experience any challenge, because Bincom as a community, as a family, never forgets its own. Yeah, that's the. Let me say it again. I did not experience any challenge transitioning, because Bincom as a family and through its wide network never forgets its own, right? So it's still great, and that's why I'm always excited, to have the opportunity to to come back and give back, things like that. So yeah, basically that's it. So no challenge. No challenge. I can still reach out to Mr. Larry, but I'm comfort. I can reach out to Mr. Michael, Mr. Buddy, so anybody. Right, so no challenge. Thank you.
Right. So, throughout your stay at Bincom, there was no challenges at all.
So, throughout my stay at Bincom, I wouldn't say there was challenge. I would say that there were more of relevant gaps for growth. Relevant gaps for growth, right? And guess what? the gaps were open, and it was something voluntary, right? There was something voluntary. Nobody will push you around, right? Nobody will push you around. So if you think that, oh, I see challenge as opportunity, right? So when I see that, oh, this seems to be like a challenge, there's an opportunity in these guys, and I try to tap into the gap within that challenge or that seeming issue. And to me, I convert what seems to be a challenge into an opportunity that ends up adding or that ends up acting as a lever to my current capacity or capabilities to deliver. So it was a leverage for me. I never saw it as a challenge at all. Yeah. All right. Am I being heard? Please, can you give a thumbs up if I'm being heard? Okay, okay. All right.
Okay. All right. So our last question. The last question.
Okay.
Then maybe I will throw the questions, any other questions from the audience before I call it a day. The last
Okay.
question is, what advice would you give to someone looking to become an expert in your field? What advice?
Four things, right? Number one, know that it takes competence to be confident, right? And for you to develop competence, you need to learn skills, relevant skills that are on the upward trend of the future. So don't learn what everybody seems to be learning as of now. Learn things that the vast majority are not currently learning, or they feel to be difficult to learn, because in that sense of trying to learn a difficult thing, you will discover what gives you the unfair advantage over others, right? So that's the first thing. The second one I would say is that chase signals over noise, right? So there's a lot of noise out there, things that seem to be like a good shot. Look out for the things that connect with the areas of competence you are currently building on, and find a way to capitalize on it. And by so doing, you will get access to opportunities that will front you forward in that particular career track. Number three, build your portfolio and be seen, right? Because hidden value never commands market reward. Hidden value never commands market reward. So you need to be seen. Now, don't just only show your results, show your process. In an attempt to be seen, don't just only show your result, show your process, right? That's number three. Number four, find a way to constructively, continuously give back to the community. Community amplifies your voice. Community amplifies the authenticity of the value you project. Community serve as the enabling support to, all right. Community act as the enabling support to affirm credibility, right? So find a way of giving back, and lastly, never see yourself as a single unit. Have the mindset of an ecosystem enabler, right? Where you always build yourself, where you always groom yourself, where you always advance, and you'll be amazed what the outcome will look like in the long run. So yeah, these are the 4 steps or 5 steps that can help you advance, doing the things I do. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. So
You're welcome.
let's hear from the audience as question to ask or addition or comment. Now to the audience, please. Is there any question? All right, thank you. I can see Sophia and Peter. So let me start with Sophia.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Can
Well
you?
done, and nice to meet you again, Elijah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Sophia,
so
can we see your face, please?
my face. Oh, okay, I'm coming.
Yes.
Okay. My face, yeah.
Well,
Um,
It's fine.
okay, thank you. You work in Bincom and you're also working on that place, even though you have your startup. What can you say the difference between your where you work, not your startup, where you work, and Bincom? What can you say the difference, or what can you say the is it that Bincom is more like some people say where I'm working, because I've able to meet some people that
Mm.
passed out from Bincom, and they'll tell you that where they are working is more different and taxi. So what can you say in your own case?
Yeah. Oh, in other words, what's your constructive criticism as tied to where you are now and uh where you actually emerged from that's being that's a very excellent question, right? So I'll say basically three things. Um well, the organization I'm actually working with, there's a level of flexibility, right? And when I mean flexibility is that okay, first is first, different organizations operate differently, and their orientation, objectives, corresponding visions differs. So no two organizations are the same, right? There might be areas where there are overlaps, and there might be vast areas where there's a big gap, right? So I'm saying this to build like a background. So when I'm sharing it, it's not as though one organization is better than the other, just that there are peculiarities in the way they carry out the operation, and that's what differentiates one from the other, right? So the first, the current ones I'm a part of, there's a level of flexibility, right, where um, you are not giving KPIs to work on things, right? So they believe that you are the expert, you are the professional. So you come up with the KPIs you want to work on, right? Nobody's going to chase you to say, hey, I want that stuff, I want that stuff. You are seen as the consultant, right? So you're seen as a consultant and you must know what to do. Right? There's no such thing as you asking the CEO, what do you think we should? There's no what do you, it is what are you thinking we should do? And then the stakes are higher because whatever you think they should do is what you get to do. And if the outcome does not look favorable, you are held for the outcome of the decisions you took. So there's a much more, it looks flexible because you're the consultant, but um, can you really pay the price for your actions if they produce wrong results or if they underperform, right? So Bincom gives you systems of thinking in terms of KPIs, things that like goals you can actually hit and level up, and then you are measured, right? And you are able to deliver and surpass it, which is good because you grow through that way. But this other one, they believe you're the expert already. So you can't tell those stories. Yes, so that's the first one. Now the second one is so um with with some measure of freedom comes greater responsibility for intended actions. What do I mean by that? You have flexibility with time, right? So time zone difference, all this kind of stuff. These are perks, right? You can work from home and all this kind of stuff, work fully from home, right? But then you working from home means that you are working 24/7 to an extent, right? And that does not mean that they are basically because you are the consultant, your mind is functioning 24/7. You need to be ahead. You need to like 3 step, 4 step, 5 step ahead. You need to keep your shining. Right now, nobody is dragging anything with you because you're recognized for every input and effort. But you need to ensure that you are bringing your A game and your A plus game, A plus game. So you'll be amazed that other organizations act like an environment, right? Let me tell you this. When you are in Bincom, I'm going to use a metaphor, something similar to the ocean wildlife, right? When you are in Bincom, you are trained to be an intelligent shark, right? Based on the resources that's available to you. When you leave Bincom and you go to an organization, you become the biggest shark in that ocean. So you could do anything. You are multi-dimensional. You are flexible. Hey, give me anything, I can do it, and you will deliver. That even the organization will look at you and say, like, relax, calm down. You take it gently. Come, but don't take it gently because whatever is giving you that shine, keep on making it to keep on ensuring that you keep on shining, right? So these are the two things that I think you know um the forward realities between Bincom and other organizations I work with. So yeah, hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Right.
you. Thank you, Sophia. So the next person is Peter. Peter.
Okay,
Peter, let me
thank you,
hear
ma'am.
your.
All right, thank you. Am I audible?
Loud and clear.
Can you let's see your face, please? Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Elijah, for the class. So I wanted to ask, talking about the future of technology as regard AI, to me, the future of technology as regard AI is very unclear. And while responding to one of the questions, you said we should follow the signal. I would appreciate if you can, touch more and be very specific when you talk about following the signal because the noise is very much and you begin to wonder what is the next thing that is coming. And I also remember you mentioned we are learning what others are not learning. And in this era that we are now, where there are so many noise, how do we know the next thing? What is that signal to follow? That's my question.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What is the signal to follow? Practically. So there are three ways you can approach this. All right. There are three ways you can approach it. Number one, you read research papers.
Yes, I do. I do take up this. I
Okay.
do.
So let me tweak it a bit. There are research-based organizations that focus on research primarily, like PwC. You have Deloitte. you have McKinsey, right? You have KPMG, especially PwC. They provide up-to-date, relevant insight into the dynamics of various industries, right? Consume those materials. Right? Consume those materials. That's the first one. Number two, interact with a number of the intelligent tools, especially the intelligent tools that are trained with relevant data to enable you advance around research. So majority of advancement is dependent on research. So an example of this intelligent tool is Claude. I use Claude of Perplexity, right? Iterate and integrate backwardly and forward present questions you have with these intelligent tools, right? So if you use Claude, for instance, Claude gives you like a research-based approach towards inquiries. And guess what? The direction towards the clarity of signals starts with a question. The direction towards the clarity of signals starts with a question, right? So you could use Claude as a tool. I wouldn't say use Gemini. I wouldn't say use Gemini if you're looking at doing deep research. Use Claude, use Perplexity. These are awesome tools you can use. Use DeepSeek, right? But Claude and Perplexity works very well. It can help you journey through the diversities of the questions you have and reinforce your train of thought in the direction of the signals. Now, why do I say that? A lot of the persons who are making use of these tools, they tend to use the tool on the consumption side. So when you use AI on the consumption side, you are only consuming, you're not producing. When you use these tools on the utility side, they serve you and you think through them to accomplish whatever aims or objective you have in mind. So don't just use this, I don't like using AI, but call it LLM models or AI framework, right? Don't just use them to consume, to run tasks, to do all this stuff. Use them to think, use them to reflect, use them to project, use them to forecast. There is something called scenario planning in startup development, where you work out multiple models of how you think the world would turn out to be. And whatever model gives you a commensurate level of predictability, that is the model you use as a stronger case to advance forward, right? That is something you can do. Then this particular book I'll refer to you, it's called Principles by Ray Dalio, The Changing World Order, right? And in that book, you get a sense of clarity. Yes, there are things happening at the global stage, but these things are happening at the global stage. They are dependent on two variables: technological advancement and economic advancement. That's the base. Whether you're hearing about war, you're hearing about these things are accelerating these two components because you need the economy to drive the technology and you need technology to drive the economy, right? And you look at the direction of what the key players are doing. So don't look at don't look at what general people are talking about AI and the rest. Look at the key players, all right? Look at what the countries and their policies, the individuals that are running this big AI move. Look at what you're doing, and then position yourself to align and advance forward. And then lastly, learn what is relevant, right? Learn what is relevant. Because in an age and time like this, people want to learn everything because they feel that by learning everything, if they're here, they're here, they're there, they're there, and then they're there, right? Look at, okay, let me make it more practical. In the direction of the rise of the new civilization, right, technology, people who are able to think with machines and people who are able to instruct machines to think for themselves are people that will be relevant in the future. People who are able to think with machines and people who are able to instruct machines to think for themselves are individuals who will be relevant in the future. Not people who are giving machines tasks to do. That is not thinking. That's the least form. Speaking of which, let me share this and I'll stop here. When you look at an organization, we look at the world, right? Every company in terms of levels, is divided into 3. Now, I'm saying this so that everybody on this call can identify where they fall into. This is if this is the last thing you get throughout this entire section, it's going to be the best thing ever you ever receive. So listen. You have 3 levels. You have strategy. You have strategy, you have operations, you have implementation. People who are employed in companies to execute tasks, they function on the implementation level. That's the least level. That's the level where you can be replaced because you are giving tasks to work on. You are giving KPIs to work on. If you don't deliver it, you can be switched. Implementers will be changed. Oracle sacked 30,000 intermediate employees. Entry level, gone. Intermediate, gone. Google is sacking. Meta is sacking. And guess what? Let me shock you. Diffusion of innovation. Other companies will start adopting autonomous systems. So the question now is, why are these people being removed? Because a lot of the things they are doing are tasks that can be automated. Right? So the lowest level is implementation. Don't just be doing tasks. The second level is operation. These are people that, in a way, build structure based on the vision they receive from the top. They build structure based on the vision they receive from the top. So here you have HR because that they have to do with talent, recruiting the right talent, right? You have systems that recruit systems. You have, although yes, you still have, you can call them smart HRs. These guys function on the operation level. So in operation level, you regulate process and you control process. That's level 2. The highest of all level is strategy. This area has to do with thinking. The ability to convert intelligence into assets. This is where the rise of AI and the rest, you have not got to this point because here you have AGI, artificial general intelligence, you have supercomputers and the rest. But this is the point where everybody is raising to. Multi-agent, single-agent systems and the rest. This is the level. But if you are an individual, you start thinking with the tool. You are able to instruct the tool to reason or to create systems of reasoning. This will give you unfair advantage into the future. So don't consume, produce. Don't see LLM models, ChatGPT, Gemini, and the rest as tools for usage in accomplishing your tasks. See them as utility to enable you tap into the prowess of creativity and unlock possibilities for yourself. When you do that, you will become your own economic engine. You become an enabling ecosystem where other people can plug into you and you stand out. Doing that, you will not just only have captured the signal, you will also become the signal. So these are the things you can actually do to give yourself an unfair advantage. Yes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. All right.
So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for making this program. Thank you for making it interacting. I really appreciate. Thank you, speaker, Mr. Eli. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
Next time you are going to answer us.
Oh, yes, I will. I mean, anytime you call, I will answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Because of appreciate it. So, since in the absence of no other question, I think we're going to call it a day. I really appreciate everyone that attended. Thank you very much. Really appreciate. We all have a lovely day ahead. And
you
a lovely
too.
Easter
Bye,
too.
everyone. Thank you.
All right. Bye.